My brother.
Legendary shit.
Legendary. What's up, my brother?
What's up, big bro? How you doing?
I'm blessed. Yourself?
I can't complain, man. How you keeping up in this quarantine?
I'm in LA, man, so the weather's good and doing so much stuff around the house. You have no idea, man. And I want to salute you because we going up against the Fat Joe show.
Oh, bro, I ain't even know Joe Bro was coming on right now.
Yeah, it's on at 8 o'clock your time. It's all right though, brother. It's
Yeah,
all
that's
good.
my dog. That's my dog. You know what I mean? He got the best rap. I'm just trying to catch up.
Yeah, you know I'm loyal to Fat Joe, but we tune up. He keeps me alive 6 days a week. But I seen what you were doing, and I was like, wow. So I tuned in, and you know, I'm just blessed to be here, man. Because you know we go way back. So I'm gonna let you take over.
Way back. And you know, before we get into our shit, even though that wraps up in a lot of, you know, my journey, but your journey started fucking, I want to say 30 years ago. You one of the most consistent people in hip hop that I know that actually made their rounds and still here today and still remains consistent and current. And salute to you. Now, I
appreciate that because it's very hard to do that, my brother.
Shit, I'm trying to catch up. I'm just 10,000 hours in. I'm trying to get my 30,000 hours in. You know what I mean? People know you from the West Coast, but you know I know your journey started in Queens. You know, I see. Look, I got one of them plaques up there. One of them plaques up there I got with my name on there too. We gonna get into that. What was your first job in hip hop?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I appreciate you saying that. I'm from Queens, New York, and I never forget where I come from. A lot of people forget where they come from. You know, my first job in hip hop was listening and learning from the great late Jam Master Jay and Run DMC and Russell Simmons. So I used to always be around Def Jam Records and Profile Records and Rush Management, and I always ear hustle and listen to the greats. And Run DMC and Jam Master Jay let me go on the road with them. And I would drive the van, you know, carry the bags, do whatever I needed to do. And that's how I started, man.
How did you meet Jam Master Jay and Russ?
I grew up with them in Queens, man. I'm from Queens, and I grew up with them. And I met them, you know, after I was around 15, 16 years old. And, you know, before that, I was shoveling snow, raking leaves, delivering newspapers, you know, just doing whatever, you know. And the rest is history after that, man. You know, opportunities don't knock all the time. So when opportunities knock, you got to take advantage of those opportunities, my brother.
That's a fact. That's a fact. What was it like in that era?
That era, man, was Lee's and Levi's, suede Pumas, shell toes. You know, I was a Guido, like, you know, when I was 13 and 14, you know, Guido's all right. Growing up in New York, you know. Had the 77 Cutlass Supreme with the T-tops, wearing the members only jackets, you know, and, you know, carrying a boombox around. And, you know, it was just, you know, the crack era, the coke era, you know, grew up with Afro-Americans, Latinos, Caucasians. My mom let everybody to the house. It was just amazing in Queens, and dudes were getting robbed for their Timbs and their bomber jackets and their Gazelles. Just, you know, I love that era, to be honest with you, man.
How did your parents feel about that era and you being involved in it back then?
I'm sorry?
How did your parents feel about that era and you being involved in it back then? Because you said you used to bring them over to the crib. So
yeah, I mean, they loved it. You know, my mom, rest in peace, man. She grew me. You know, I grew up with. You know, she let me. You know, anybody was allowed in my house. It was Colombian, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Jewish, Irish, Italian, Afro-American. You know, and Run DMC, Jam Master Jay used to keep their equipment in my dad's garage too. So, you know, they've been around, man. So my mom, she loved everybody. She gave everybody money and fed everybody. My dad, he wasn't around a lot because he worked a lot. I spend a lot of time with my dad now, but when he was around, he showed love, you know, but he'd come home late. But just growing up in Queens was amazing. The Chinese takeout places with the duck sauce and, you know, the bodegas on the corner, get that turkey and cheese, Hero. You know, shit like that, man. Queens, man, going to the Coliseum and get yourself some fresh suede Pumas and some shell toes, stuff like that, my brother.
Right. Didn't you used to manage Run DMC? Wasn't that like your first managing gig?
Nah, I never managed Run DMC. A lot of people think that. No, I always worked with them. I never managed them. And then, you know, riding dirt bikes, getting chased by the police up and down Franny Lou, going to Cunningham Park. But never managed Run DMC. Was around them for a long time. Still around, you know, Run and D. Just had a gig with Run that just got canceled right before the pandemic happened. But those guys are my family. Those guys put me in the game. I got a few Run DMC plaques on the wall, signed by all three of them. I got a bunch of Shell Toes signed by them. And I just love those guys, man, because they one of the biggest rap groups in history, you know?
That's a fact. They're in the rap history books. What's the first artist that you managed?
You know, so let me tell you, just a lot of people get confused. So I got a job with Relativity Records. Shout out my man Fly Guy Buddy, MC Brainpower in here, my man Mario. So a lot of people jumped in Track Lib. Basically, I got a job with Relativity, right? And I met a guy named Alan Grumblatt through Onyx and Run DMC because Jay and Fredro and Sticky had this artist they were shopping. So Alan met me and he liked me and he's like, hey, you want a job? And again, I never really worked for no one because before that I had my own bars in Union Turnpike in Queens. I had clubs and bars when I was like young. So I said, yeah, why not? And he's like, you know how to do radio, you know how to do promotions, you know how to do A&R. I'm like, yeah. And I just learned everything. And, you know, I worked with Fat Joe there and MOP, the Beatnuts, Frankie Cutlass, the whole Suave House from the South, 8-Ball and MJG, Tila, Mr. Mike, South Circle. Then let's go over to the Bay Area, Mac Mall, Drew Down, the Loonies, and then go to the Midwest, the Dayton Family and Bone Thugs, and then back to the West Coast, LA, which was Ruthless Records we had, Ap Band Clan, which was Will I Am, Bone Thugs. So I was working with all types of artists from around the country. And being a New Yorker, my mind was only open to New York music. I never really traveled the country, only with Run DMC. So to be honest with you, one day Fat Joe had to go on the road, and no one wanted to go on the road with these wild Puerto Ricans. And they asked me to go. And I went on the road with Fat Joe, and Pun was his artist, but he wasn't as big at the time. And we only had like $50 per diem. And Joe would bitch and moan and complain. They want to beat me up. I'm like, man, I'm from Queens. You ain't beating shit up. And they respected me. And I went over the country with Joe. We used to go to radio stations and retail stores. And we put that work in, man. And I introduced Joe to his wife. And Joe's still my brother. Like right now, we missing his show. But it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's for good cause. It's for good cause.
Because I love Joe. I love Joe.
Yeah, I love Joe too. Joe is a good guy.
He's up there somewhere in the top, you know?
That's hard.
Yeah. That's how, you know, and then what happened was, so I was working as an A&R, retail guy, radio guy, and then Easy had me go to LA to work with Bone Thugs, and then Easy passed. And if you watch Straight Outta Compton, I was with Easy in the tunnel when he ran an Ice Cube in real life.
Really?
That was the last time I saw him because he was beefing with Cube, and he was like, I'm gonna walk back to the hotel because he was a real guy. It was cold out. He had a Pendleton flannel. He had his 2 Samoan security guards. I'm like, yo, E, get in the garage. Get in the limo. And he was like, I'm going to walk back. I never saw him again after that. So I went to L.A., started working with Bone Thugs and Homies, the A&R, and doing their solo projects and doing their label. I was overseeing all that stuff because they didn't really fuck with no one. And to be honest with you, next thing you know, I started managing Bone Thugs and then started managing Nipsey Hussle and Sean Kingston and Ayers. And man, I know. And then Scott Storch. So I've been blessed, man.
Right. Now let's speak on Bone Thugs for a second. What was your role in putting together the Bone and Big joint? Because you said I know you managed and A&R them, so I know you had a hand in that.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. You know, Fat Joe had called me. You know, it's a crazy story because I was in a hotel in Santa Monica Boulevard. We were shooting a video for one of the Mo Thug artists, and it was a Ramada Inn, and the phone rang in there. I mean, I think I had a cell phone back then, but the phone rang. Old school phones and, you know, looked like a brick. And it was Joe. He said, Puff gonna call you. And Puff called me. And then Puff called. He said, yo, Biggie's at the record plant. He's in L.A. He want to do a song with Bone. So I was like, yo, let me round these guys up. Bone was hotter than fish grease back then. 96, Crossroads, popping. And, you know, we were doing 250,000 a show and selling millions and millions of records. You know, they sold 50 million records. So I said, let me try to rile them up. And the only one that really cool with Biggie was Wishbone. But he was in Cleveland. The other guys were here, and I called them individually. All pulled up with like 20 people each, and they pulled up to the record plant one at a time. And that song got done in an hour, and then they left, and I stayed. Wow. And then they said they're going to go back and take it back to New York and work on it. And we didn't get to hear it till Big passed away because there was going to be a video to that. Shout out to Stevie J who did that beat, man.
That's fucking serious. Did you know at that time that it would be as iconic as it ended up being?
You know, I just knew that New York would tap in more to Bone Thugs because that was a problem that I was seeing, that New York wasn't really showing love to Bone, especially radio. But, you know, the street dudes love Bone. And they made classics back then, you know, First of the Month, you know, For the Love of Money and so on and so forth. And
Crossroads.
And Crossroads was big, but New York didn't accept it till really Biggie. But, you know, Bone's the only group to ever work with Big Pun, rest in peace, Biggie, Easy, and Pac, all who passed away. So I was very important in putting that in. There's a lot of pictures going around the internet of me and Biggie and Bone in those pictures. And when we did it that day, but honestly, Bone did that in an hour. Busy went in the booth. He started going, his Bone in, Biggie, and they were drinking Mad Hennessy, smoking weed, and the song was done. But it wasn't done until, you know, Biggie took it back to New York. And then I found out from Puffy and Little C's that, you know, he mastered that. And that was a crazy record, man.
So Big didn't around that time. Big didn't hop on the record at that second.
Nah,
he was
no.
and took it back and then did his 1-2. Got it. Yeah. Got it. Now explain to the people your relationship with Nipsey Hussle. How did that come about?
Oh man, you know, I really truly believe that's how me and you met. You know, eventually. A lot of people don't really know this, but you know, like you know it. But you know, the people who dive into it, you know, me and Big U were day one with Nipsey, and you know, Big U, I came off from the pen, and he, you know, I knew him, but I didn't know him. And then he said he's from Rolling 60s, and he wanted to put some artists on, so he gave me a couple of CDs, and I didn't like nothing. And then one day he gave me a CD, said the Slauson Boys, and me and my man Mexican Sean were in the car.
Shout out to Mexican Sean.
Yeah, in my Range Rover, and we heard this Slauson Boys record, and the thing that really got me was a song called I Don't Give a Fuck. And it was like he was singing and rapping like a West Coast 50 Cent. You know, the guys doing choruses, spitting that hood shit. And West Coast wasn't popping right then. So I called him and he said, yo, I don't remember what CD I gave you. Come back to the hood. Went back to the hood. And we went into the liquor store with a hanger. And we pulled out this DVD and we went to watch the DVD. And then I was like, who is that? And one of the guys was like, that's Nipsey Hussle. I was like, yo, I love that name. Could you get him here? And he pulled up like a couple hours later. The rest was history, you know. And then, you know, we had Felly Fell play this record called Bullets Ain't Got No Name. We were doing our thing. And then Sean Kingston was in L.A. shooting a video, and he had a little problem. He had a little problem with Kurt Kingston. He called me, and I brought Big U, and then we held Shipes down. And then we told J.R. Rodham, Zach Katz, Johnny Shipes, everybody to leave because there was just too much friction. Before we left, I played Johnny.
The whole video shoot that day.
Huh?
The whole video shoot got shut down that day.
Yeah, but, you know, we kept it going to the end. But then, you know, I played Johnny Nipsey's music, and Johnny was like, yo, I love this. And he went to New York and got us a deal with a company called Selfish. It was a cell phone company. You remember the cell phone company?
That was that ringtone money we was getting back then.
Exactly. We don't know about that.
Right.
And obviously, you know, and then he took him to Charlie Walk. Charlie Walk didn't even hear the music, just signed him off his name. And that's how I got cool with you. And, you know, you Kush the God, but you Smoke D's to me, and you my brother. Shout out Gully and Shipes and everybody. Yeah, watching Cinematic blow up, watching you blow up in Cinematic, and we're gonna get to the smoking thing in a minute. We need to bring up cookies and burn.
Got some shit you might not remember. That's
all good.
Head up, because I tell this story all the time. Was there a defining moment that separated that you saw in Nip that separated him from the rest of the MCs from the West Coast?
I mean, you see all my plaques on the wall, man. I say that Nipsey is the smartest artist I ever worked with. And I smoked with a lot of artists. And what's special was about him, he was just genuine. The first day he pulled up, you know, only thing that changed about Nip since I know him, and probably you believe it too, MC Brainpower, legendary Dutch rapper in here. Let me tell you something. The only thing that changed about Nip was the size of his clothes. You know that.
That's
the only thing that changed about Nip was the size of his clothes.
Same time from the jump.
Yeah, so, you know, when I saw him when he pulled up, he had a long white tee on, but he still had that Cuban link in the mouth, the next chain. He pulled up with an old school car. And just his persona and his mentality, you know, just my man, it's my bro, man.
Right. Yo, you remember you and Mexican Sean, I forgot what the fuck was the situation, but I remember you guys had me and Shipes in a house in the hills with Steven Adler.
Yeah, wow.
Fucked you up, right?
Wow. You can hear me good? You can hear me?
Yeah, good.
Wow, bro. I forgot you were there. Wow, let's talk about that. Wow. Steven Adler from Guns N' Roses. We saved his life, bro. You know, Mexican Sean was babysitting in that house. It was right off Sunset.
I never seen no shit like that in my life. Still up to this day, I never seen nothing like that in my life.
And you know what? He's alive and well because of us. We saved his life more than any rehab could do. Anything. We did some thug love. We cleaned him up. That's the legend from Guns N' Roses. We were working on getting Guns N' Roses back together, which we did without Axl. Steven Adler's alive right now because of us and your positive energy when you came through to visit him as well. And yeah, that was some crazy shit, man, those times. And Steven wrote about it in his book that came out. I'm going to write about it in my book. Yeah. Shout out. Yeah, there's a lot of people involved with that helping. And Marley Marl, Big U, me, Mexican Sean, my guy Garrett, who was over there. And they lived with him 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and got him clean, bro. And, you know, Steven Adler gave me this drum set, man, to save his life.
Wow.
Yeah, he gave me that drum set, man.
Wow. Yeah, I smoked like 10 joints with him that day, and he was just fucking telling me all these random Guns N' Roses stories and just, you know, talking about life and shit. And that's a story I never forget because it's so random for me to be in the room with fucking Steven Adler while y'all was like, all right, cool. Y'all here, all right, we gonna go get some food or whatever. We gonna head out. And we was just there. And it was nothing to do but smoke joints and talk shit. So
let me tell you something. He wrote "Sweet Child of Mine." What's the other big record? "Welcome to My Jungle." He still makes $500,000 a year in his publishing for the God knows how many years, and the rest of his life. He was a big part of writing those songs. He was the original member of Guns N' Roses. And it's funny, you know, cannabis, you know, saved his life, man. He was on every crack, cocaine, heroin, you know that, Jägermeister. And, you know, he smokes weed till this day, and he's clean. The same thing with Scott Storch, man. He got clean off of cannabis, and we're getting into that later. Me and Scott are opening a rehab center called the Heavenly Center, where we're using cannabis to help people. Yeah.
Let's touch on that now. What's it like working with a legend like Scott Storch?
You know, I've been working with Scott now almost 4 years. You know, we just got off a conference call about his single that's coming out with Azuna and Tiger. Got him a record deal, Atlantic Records. You know, the first year, no one wanted to work with him. They told me, Steve, he's a drug addict. He fucked us over. He wasted our time. And, you know, I go with my gut, just like with Nip and anything else. And, you know, he got clean off cannabis, got off coke. And to be honest with you, my brother, it was hard the first year, but the last three, I make it look easy, you know. We got a movie in the works, a book in the works, clothing line in the works, cannabis line in the works, album deal done. So many relevant artists we worked with in the last 2 years that gave him plaques like Trippy and Russ and Roddy and T Grizzly and stuff. So it was just me pushing my hard line and going my gut. My relationships exhausted them. I cleaned everything up and fixed everything up. And I told me how to diversify, and we diversified into a lot of businesses. And now we're opening a rehab center with a guy named Frank Sid that I grew up with, who's the biggest in the country with rehabilitation centers. And we're opening one in Studio City, California. We're going to use cannabis to help people. And it's going to be crazy. It's going to be a recording studio in there. We should be open by June. And I'm just diversifying Scott's portfolio in business, you know?
That's amazing. So it's an artist-related rehab center, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have a lot of celebrities, and even yourself when you come to LA to talk to the people
you know,
in there.
Oh, you'll sign me up. I'm
we're gonna do a lot of sessions with people, just talk to them and giving them inspiration. We have a lot of wellness in there and spa help, and it's an outpatient for now, but we're gonna do inpatient as well. And you know, we're gonna use cannabis besides other things to help people get off drugs because it's proven. Once Scott posted on his Instagram, a lot of people reached out, a lot of celebs, a lot of regular people, a lot of just normal people, a lot of great people saying that they use cannabis to get them clean. And it's called the Heavenly Center, abbreviation for THC. And we're going to open one up across the country in every green zone. That's our goal.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Now, you know, this platform is called Independent Thinking. And not only because you're my big homie, you have a lot of insight. Like I said, you got more than 30 plus years in this game. So you've seen it all from every different era, every different genre. And, you know, it was always, I mean, it's not fuck the label, but it was always we could get it done ourselves, right? What's your tactic? What's your strategy in choosing artists that you work with?
I mean, to be honest with you, man, you know, I haven't worked with an artist except Bone Thugs and Scott Storch right now for a while because I got caught up just putting all my time into Scott. You know, and people think this is easy, man, and you can multitask, but you got to spend some time really to make stuff happen, and you got to focus and babysit, so to speak. You know, and I'm looking for new artists, and people reach out to me, but if you don't got the work ethic bigger than me, and I'm 54 years old, and if you don't got the integrity and the responsibilities and the loyalty, I don't want to work with you. Back then, you know, maybe when I was working with a lot of artists, it was more about talent. It was more about, you know, the respect and loyalty, and just go with my gut. Everything's got to be organic, man. I got to be able to organically build a relationship with you. But these days, man, it's like, bro, you gotta just outwork, man, and outwork. You know, shout out my man Abaddon too that I work with, incredible producer from Holland. And you know, I want to shout out TrackLib since they're in the house. TrackLib is an online sample service business that I'm involved with, and J. Cole and Khaled use the service. And it's, you know, back in the days when you sample a record, you'd have to spend a lot of money and wait a lot of time to sample shit. And TrackLib makes it easier. You know, a lot of big people are involved, like Cool and Dre, Eric Sermon. So shout out TrackLib. It's an incredible platform.
So TrackLib, so basically that's a service that, does it replay the sample for you, or does it help you clear the sample?
No, basically you go into tracklib.com and they have so many samples already cleared. And you just go in there for like $50 and you get to sample the craziest stuff. You know, J. Cole's Middle Child was sampled using TrackLib. That sample came out of TrackLib.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know, while we're on businesses, you know, like, because, you know, you're a business guy as well, and we're talking independent. You know, Nip was the perfect thing of independent. He never wanted the fame. He always wanted the fortune. And I like people who want to work independently, because right now we're independent. Right now what's going on, me and you are independent. And I've been independent since I left labels, because labels to me never fight for the artist. And I wanted to go fight for the artist. So I left collecting that 401k and health insurance, steady check in that expense account. I left because honestly, I wanted to fight for the artist. And guys like us, it's very hard to survive out here, like you said, for 30 years. Other guys are hiding behind checks and steady checks of labels. And I like labels, but I don't like labels, because a lot of these labels, man, they just taking a check, and they're dinosaurs, and they're stuck in their ways, and they're looking for that security. I'm a dinosaur, but I'm fossil fuels, you know? So at the end of the day, you know, that's what I look at. And then I created something, now that we're talking indie, and not to jump over everything, it's like I created the first online college. It's called We Work in University. And there's 75 modules in there. When you go into this modules, it's 75. We got Gary V, we got Charlemagne, we got Crazy Bone, we got Dallas Martin, the guy who signed Nip, and Rick Ross and Meek. We got Groovy Lou, the legendary stylist, songwriters, producers, agents, A&Rs, stylists, choreographers. And you go in and you learn really about the real music business. So check out WeWorkInUniversity.com. It's the first of its kind. It's crazy, bro.
That's ill. I'm definitely gonna check it out as soon as I'm done with this. I'm intrigued by that. That's
no, yeah, I didn't know what a fucking module was, bro. My man brought me this whole idea from Colorado. He was a young kid named Jay, and we just went and got all the content, man. So thank you to everybody who gave me all that content. And that's when I exhausted my relationships, because in this game, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And they sat down with me and they gave us all knowledge. And I want to shout out Hostess. I'm doing a big deal with Hostess.
See, I knew it was that. I'm
Yeah.
like, you're not wearing no Twinkie shirt for no reason. You're probably selling some shit.
Nah, I'm working on something big with Hostess, because, you know, I'm a sweets guy. I love Hostess, cupcakes, Twinkies, and stuff. So I'm working on something like that. You know me, I'm going to get on your platform and support. And I gotta, you know, motivate.
All my followers are hustlers. You feel me? Everybody want to figure out how to get to the next level. It's a lot of people that questions that I answer, but I would rather it be answered by somebody else that's on that, you know, that plateau, that actually done seen more and been involved with more. So that shit is, you know.
To be honest with you, my brother, I get 9 no's to 1 yes. You know, And I plant my seeds to get my fruit. And when I get that one, yes, I just run with it. And, you know, I go with my gut, man. I mean, you know, I know you smoke a lot. You've been smoking from day one. You know, I was blessed to help, you know, start the cookies franchise as far as the retail shops, you know, with Burner. So we, the first one that I put together was the one in Maywood, which is the big one in Maywood, where they grow all that fire. And the retail shop is there. I put those things together. Burner announced yesterday we're opening another one, which I put together. And I appreciate Burner for saluting me. We're opening one in Woodland Hills, which is near Calabasas and Malibu. So, you know, I'm involved with equity and stuff in a couple of the cookies retail stores and stuff. So it's amazing. And then the Heavenly Center. And then I'm working on something that I need to holler at you about, where the same individuals gave me a bunch of percentage for a place called, right now it's called Daddy's. But the concept is, and I'm going to send you the picture, the front of it's a boombox, a legendary boombox. And inside there is a dispensary, hip-hop museum, recording studio, and a 250-lighter grow. Buddy Strain Gang. So what we're doing is we're giving artists their own product. And we're going to be able to sell in the cookie stores and in this place in Van Nuys. And I'm talking to some of your favorite rappers doing some big deals. So I'm going to send you the picture of the place from the outside. And when this pandemic is over, you're going to come out and we're going to talk about doing something with you. And before I forget, I'm praying for everybody's family and friends and anybody who lost somebody. You know, my condolences, man. This shit is real. So I'm working on a lot of shit, brother. You know, we working.
working. And that's the only thing that we could do during a time like this is just stay working. You hear the shit that's going on in my background? The work don't never stop. The kids is getting screamed at because they fucking doing extra shit. I'm trying to fucking hold an interview with a legend, and all I hear is fucking screaming in the background.
It's all right. Kids come first, man. As long as you guys are taking care of them, that's all that matters, man. Because a lot of people have children and they neglect their kids, and they don't take care of their kids. And I never had kids. You know, I cheated myself on not having kids because I was worrying about my artist and worrying about, you know, working so much. So you're blessed to have kids, man, and you're a good father and you take care of your children. A lot of people out here, they ain't taking care of their kids. So I salute you for that, bro, because I know you a long time. And because of this man right here, we met. And he named me Maniac Lobel, you know?
That's a fact.
Let me just show the motivation because it's independent thinking.
All the motivation.
It's all motivation purposes only, you know? And Nip and Hove and me. You know, that's really it. And then we talking about Jam Master Jay. He signed the Run DMC plaque right here and all that. Just motivation, bro. Motivation, you know?
That's big motivation for me, and I'm sure it's a lot of motivation for the people that's in here. So, right, so we spoke about eras. We came from the radio era, you know, and then we had the ringtone era, right? And now we got streaming. What do you think is what was better for you? What worked better? Like, what era did you appreciate more? Did you appreciate the ringtone era more than the streaming era? Like, what's your take on that?
So it's crazy you say that, right? I come from vinyl. I come from cassettes. I come from CDs. I come from ringtones. You know, we won a Grammy off ringtones, Riding Dirty with Crazy Bone and Chameleonaire. And then, you know, iTunes and now all the streaming stuff. So it's just like social media. When we were coming up, we didn't have social media. We didn't have iPhones. We didn't have technology. We had rolls of quarters and we had pay phones. So I'm blessed to go through that transition. I'm still learning the streaming service, you know, streaming business myself. You know, I just know that every million streams is $3,000. And at the end of the day, I'm used to coming out the gate first week, selling 1 million records on the Bone Thugs album. And, you know, that's $10 a record almost. But you spent more money back then for videos, for production, for recording budgets. So, you know, it's a different game. And I feel like the game is merch, which we used to call swag back in the days. And I would always telling artists to do merch. And then touring. Live performance is everything. And that's why a lot of artists didn't save for the rainy days. And right now, touring shut down, walkthroughs, clubs, concerts, festivals. And I feel that's where everybody's really making their money as an artist. But, you know, the streaming stuff's cool. I'm just figuring it all out. And, you know, I try to keep people around myself who are smarter than me. But I was glad that I got to see all those errors and stuff. And I really loved getting in a van with Fat Joe and going to the radio station and bringing the vinyl, even though vinyl's back, and going to the retail mom and pop shops and going to the barber shops and going to the malls and giving out flyers and T-shirts and promotional product. There's none of that no more, you know? So I miss those days. And the young kids never even been through that type of stuff. So they just think, okay, let's get on Instagram and say, suck my dick, or let's clout chase, or let's just put out a video and get on Instagram and put out a song and we're the shit. And no one's paying their dues. No one's working hard. No one's getting stripes. I just meet people like, oh, I'm an influencer. I have 5 million followers. What do you mean? I'm an influencer. What does that mean? Like, what's your resume? What's your stripes? So I have to teach myself how to deal with all this type of stuff because I come from a different era, but I'm not stubborn. I'm not stuck in my ways. So I definitely grow. I got to grow. If you don't grow, there's no growth in you, then you're stuck in a time lapse. So I don't like people who don't grow. So, you know, I just have to adjust everything, man. In life, you got to adjust every 4 or 5 years. There's something new that you got to learn. I had to teach my dad how to work a new 50-inch television, you know, that with Wi-Fi and all that stuff. So he's had the same TV and cable box for 30 years. So you got to be able to grow, you know?
Right. Do you think relationships is worth more than money?
Man, relationships make the money. So yes, relationships are way more important than money because money comes and goes, but history stays, right? And if you could, and listen, I have a line I always say, money comes and goes, but history stays. As long as I keep making history, I can make money. But without those relationships, you can't make no money. So relationships is everything to me. I based my whole life on leveraging relationships, being a people's person, being organized, following up, and having common sense, which is not common. And the biggest thing is I don't take no for an answer.
That is some fucking shit right there, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. You just fucked my head up with that, and a lot of people is down here agreeing. So,
you know what it is? You know what most people are looking at, my brother? They're looking at the candy instead of the candy factory. If I was only looking at the candy, I would have took a bag off that Cookies May would play and wouldn't have equity. So I took both and now have equity in all these places. So that's what I look at, man. So not necessarily you got to invest money sometimes. Sometimes the access, the plug, the connect, the relationships is priceless. So everything I got involved with, I might have not put no money up, but my relationships and my sacrifice to build those relationships, being away from my family, is priceless. So when someone has money, they want to get you involved because they want your relationship, your Rolodex, your content. So, you know, and that's how it went down, my brother. So, you know, equity is everything to me. If you believe in the future and in the bigger picture and believe in yourself.
Right. How important is marketing for independent artists?
Marketing is everything, man. There's a lot of people in here that I know. There's a lot of people I speak to daily that are trying to get out there as an artist, and they're lost. You know, they're going in circles, and they don't know how to get their music out there and stuff. First thing I tell everybody is be yourself. Be a leader, not a follower. I know I'm a leader. I know I'm a man at the end of the day. I'm not cocky. I'm confident that I'm a man. If I was in the Queen's house right now, I got to be a man. So, you know, that's first and foremost. But marketing is everything. You know, my man Fly Guy Buddy's trying to market his weed strain. My man Hip Hop is trying to, you know, get his music out there. Marketing is everything, you know, and, you know, branding. You know, you got to build a brand. And a real brand is when the consumer is emotionally attached to you. Why are we attached to Mercedes, Rolex, Instagram, Adidas, Nike? You know, because it's emotionally attached to you in your mind. They don't change their logos all the time. They stay consistent. You know, they don't change their look. And that's what a real brand is. Stay consistent and build a real brand that could build a legacy and become legendary.
That's the gem. Now, before I let you go, what advice would you give to any aspiring A&R executive that's trying to break into this thing right now?
I mean, to be honest with you, my brother, I feel like there's so many A&Rs and executives and industry guys who work at labels. They're nervous. They want to jump on the bandwagon when they feel that something else is being chased for or already started creating the buzz. That's why I respect Cinematic and Shipes, because he takes his balls and throws it on the line. You know, and nowadays the fans know about you more before the label knows about you. You know, it used to be back in the day, someone believed in an artist, they put up a contract for millions of dollars, signed the artist for 7 years, 3 albums in, they would break. Deals were different. But now, you know, I feel like these executives and these artists and these A&Rs, they're scared. And they got to go through a lot of politics to sign an artist. Going to a major label is just a loan anyway. And I feel like there's a lot of people still at these labels who are not relevant. They're dinosaurs and they're scared. They just stay at these labels to collect the check because they don't know how to get out there in the streets and grind. But unfortunately, the fans know about you more than the labels, and then the labels jump on the bandwagon after. I hate when a label wants to sign someone based off their numbers on Instagram or their influencers or TikTok. I think that we need.
Is the game important to you?
I'm sorry?
Is the number game important to you?
Not to me. Talent is, artist development is, which is all gone. You know, I posted a video the other day, me up at Power 106, saying, when are we going to go back to breaking records and giving the DJ records and going to the meetings and letting people hear records before they come out? These days, it's a different game. And again, maybe I'm lost, but, you know, maybe I'm cheating myself, but I got to go with my integrity and my morals. And I just feel like it might go back to real talent. And, you know, look at Tory Lanez now. He's off his label. He became so much bigger just because of this quarantine. And, you know, me and Kingston found Tory Lanez. So, you know.
Remember, I've known Tory since he was 14, 15.
Exactly.
I remember that whole.
Yep. And, you know, Fat Joe, now he's going to get a TV show. And then you got Pretty Lou. I gave him that idea. And then you got Swiss and Timberland. Shout out to them. So, you know, anybody could fall off but come back with one record or something. Oh, wow, June Summers is in here. Shout out June Summers.
Uncle Randy in here.
But, you know, I'm just saying, though, that's how I look at things, my brother. And I'm not ready to go. I'm ready to talk trash. So.
Nah, talk your shit. This is the time. Talk your shit. I'm just baiting you to talk your shit. That's all.
You know me. I walk that walk, but I talk that talk, baby.
I was set up for it. I was ready for all of this shit. What do you think? Do you think major labels are gonna stand a chance of the times with everything changing right now, or do you think it's gonna take the independent mindset to actually get things going from here on in?
Well, the first thing I want to say is major labels stay in business only because of the catalog. Okay, the catalog that they, you know, re-release or they sample or the publishing and so on and so forth, because so many deals back then were different and they benefit, you know, not the artist. Another thing is because you're an artist and you're an entrepreneur as well. There's a lot of artists in here. You guys should be on your knees right now praying for all independent promoters. Free Yeti, free my man YB, Queens in the house, locked up. But everybody should be on their knees right now praying for independent promoters. You know why? Those independent promoters right now are going through a lot because they live on doing shows for the artists to come and they make their money. If we don't have these independent promoters, no one's booking these artists when this shit is done. Can't just count on Coachella and you know, Rolling Loud. So all those independent promoters that book you to go to a club or a house of blues and so on and so forth, you should be praying for them because they're the ones who are feeding these artists and they're the ones who book these artists to make money. That's what people should be saluting and praying for, because if this shit with live performances doesn't happen until next year, a lot of bars, clubs, venues will be out of business. And it's fucked up. So if you're an independent artist, that's what you should be praying for.
That's some real shit.
Major labels. Not major labels. Major labels will always be good because you know why? They got the catalog. I'm sorry.
Right. No. That's real shit. How important is owning your catalog?
I mean, you know, a lot of people are yelling and screaming like, "No, I own my shit. I own my shit." You know, back in the days
of, is that? Because a lot of people screaming, but a lot of people don't own their shit. It's a lot of,
you know, it's unheard of, to be honest with you, my brother. Like even in the days, you signed yourself for 7 years, 7 albums, and maybe after 25 years it reverses back. You know, there's a lot of young artists out here saying they were on labels and they left. A major label can't afford to sign an artist without owning something. Come on. You know, you can't just, you know, give an artist $1 million and say, here, and just leave when you want and give me when this and do that. So there's only a few that own the catalog. Yeah, there's profit splits. Yeah, there's distribution deals. There's this, but that's where it's important to have a lawyer. And no label's just going to say, hey, you're going to own your stuff, and I'm just going to take a percentage of you off of streaming. Maybe they'll do that at an independent label, but it's very hard. You know, the most you'll get maybe is 50-50.
don't even give you that leverage, you know, because like you said, if they're gonna invest in you a certain amount of dollars, and marketing dollars as well. They want a ROI on their return, right?
It's an investment. It's an investment, brother. It's like going to the bank.
Recoup in a year or two, sometimes, most times. So you know, they keep those. They license it to other countries, other different distributors that you might never know about, and you know, yeah, I don't even want to talk my shit. This is
you know your shit. You know, because you've been around. You know, knowledge from experience is priceless.
Facts. Do you think publishing deals is a good thing?
Well, you know, I'm in the publishing business now. You know, it's crazy. I didn't really know much about publishing for years. And the last 3 years, I learned a lot. Shout out to my partners in my Dutch partners in Holland, called CTM. I have a working publishing company. I just did a joint venture. We created CTM Latin. We're playing skills. You know, playing skills are urban producers, but now they're in the Latin world. We're signing Latin writers and producers, and also signing, you know, artists for writing, writers and producers for publishing. Publishing deals got to be careful, man. You know, to me, if you don't need no money, and you know, and you're really blowing up and really big, don't do a pub deal. But if you're young and you want to open those dots and get some writing gigs and placements, you might have to do a little co-pub deal or an admin deal. So it all depends how you structure the deals. Publishing deal is good, or publishing deal could be bad. Huh?
What's the difference between a co-pub deal and an admin deal for the people out there that don't know?
Yeah, an admin deal, you know, you keep your publishing, and they're just collecting all the money around the world that's out there. They're administrating it, you know, and they're taking a fee for that. A publishing deal is when someone might give you $250,000 and they own the rights for 25 years, and all the money that comes in they get until you're recouped, and you go back and get more money if you're recouped, and so on and so forth. So a lot of people out here bitching and moaning, saying pub deals are not good. Some say they love it. It all depends on what you're really doing, you know. But you know, as far as that.
How important is it to own your publishing as an artist? Because you know, a lot of people don't understand the severity in that, and you know, it's certain glitches in it too. Because you know, if you don't have money and you're trying to get to a certain level, right, and you don't understand this language or have a decent enough lawyer to articulate the contract or whatever the situation is for you, you may just overlook that, right? So how important is it to you that you advise your talent to people that, you know, or back when you was, you know, dealing with new guys, how did you advise them to get through that and to make them understand publishing?
Well, you know, you could take the horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. You know, so my first thing was always telling artists to build a team. Together, everybody achieves more. You could check out We Work at University. We got everything in there you need to know about publishing as well. But, you know, first thing I used to tell artists is buy a house. They want to buy jewelry and they want to buy cars. And now everybody's regretting if they don't own houses, especially with this pandemic. You know, get a business manager because you can't beat the IRS. Get a lawyer because I'm not a lawyer. So, you know, you got to get a lawyer. So you got to break the lawyer 5%. The agent to book you shows 10%. The manager 20%. You know, the business manager 5%. The lawyer. You know, you need a team, and together everybody achieves more. And you know, Forbes just did a piece on me. It was about to come out, and I was so blessed that, you know, when we're talking and showing the music business, and you know, the episode is dope. Burner and Cookies is in it. Scott's in it. There's a bunch of great things in Forbes, and I appreciate them giving me my rose and saluting me. But you know, at the end of the day, it's all about learning the business. I'm not in the music industry, man. I'm in the music business.
Music business.
And if you don't know the business, then you're going to get fucked. And you're going to get screwed. And then you're going to curse and say, oh, the white man or this one or that one fucked me. You know, and, you know I'm not racist. You know, I grew up with everybody. But that's what people say. And at the end of the day, you got to learn the business, bro. You know, and that's it. No one raped no one. No one fucked no one. But if you just look at the little check and a little money to go buy a chain, you fucked yourself.
I tell people all the time, you get what you negotiate. So even, you know, with me bumping my head in business at times, you know, I couldn't fault the other recipient of the business, and I got to fault myself because my lawyer broke it down to me enough for me to understand it. But sometimes you look at that dollar and you're looking at, you know, okay, bet this is going to pay a certain amount of rent for me, a certain, you know, a few months or whatever, a few years, whatever that is, you know what I mean, of rent. Or mortgage or whatever that is that your take is. So you're not really thinking about you know, everything else that comes into that. So
that's where growth is, and that's where learning and educating yourself and asking for advice and hiring the right people that are smarter than you and so on and so on. Bro, you got Johnny Shipes around you who's been, you know, been around you a long time. You both grow together, you know?
Around Johnny fucking 16. Him and hip hop saved my life, man.
I know, and you know, and we call him Johnny White Boy, Johnny Shipes. Like, you know, at the end of the day, you know, like I said, man, some of my best friends, Afro-American, Latino, white, there's no color lines in this business. And the people who are racist and stereotype, they don't get nowhere, because in the music industry, you deal with all types of people. But you live and you learn, and, you know, you fumble sometimes, right? And you pick up, if you're a real true hustler, and you get back up on your feet and you make shit happen. And that's why I respected Nipsey, because he didn't know something. He went to learn about it. And he always wanted to learn about the business. And I'm going to tell you, man, the business is more important than anything else. Learning, educating yourself about business. Because when you go buy at least a car, or you go buy a car, or you go buy a house, you got to sign paperwork. You got to have a lawyer look at different things, because you got to watch what you sign. So learn about what you're signing. You know, educate yourself. Now you can go online and learn a lot. We work in university, you can learn a lot. So that's all about. It's all about education and learning and fumbling sometimes and making the right choices in life. And sometimes we make the wrong choice in life. You know, like, I've stumbled a lot. I got up and I learned and fixed it. It's the choices that we make in that crossroads of those roads that are going each way. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong.
Right. Is radio still important?
I feel it's crazy you say that. I feel radio is very important. I was just telling Atlantic Records how Scott's record needs to have radio, because you gotta understand something. Like, Scott Storch never put out an album like Khaled. He needs radio, but he needs streaming too. But he needs radio because there's a lot of DJs out here, fans of Scott, and want to play it. Fat Joe needs radio every time he drops a record. Like the new artists, the young boys, they just need streaming, and then they get online and talk stupidity. And they don't get radio. But radio is very important, I feel, and will always be important, because everybody's stuck in traffic, everybody's home, everybody wants to listen to radio, from Sirius XM radio to all types of radio. It's very important, you know. Not everybody's just, you know, on Spotify or looking for new music or on YouTube, but that's the new generation. So a mix and match of everything. So that's what I suggest.
That's some real shit. How do you think shit is going to change after this pandemic is over in our business? Like, what do you think people should look forward to, in your point of view? Like,
well, it took everybody. I think we have like maybe how many minutes we have? Like 6-7 minutes left. I think that, you know, this pandemic should not have made people now starting eating healthy and exercising and appreciating their family, appreciating their friends, their houses, and waking up on a lot of life things, right? They should have realized that way before that, you know? So, you know, what this taught me is, it taught me I had a lot of time now to learn who I am and investigate me, so to speak. And one thing this taught me was not to hold on things. Yeah, I was holding on a gang of money. I just put a pool in my house. I'm like, why am I holding on to this shit? I just cleaned out fucking all my closets. I had Adidas, Nike, everything. I just gave it to the homeless the other day. Like, why am I holding on to shit? I'm never gonna wear this, use it. So that's what it taught me. But I feel like, honestly, 20% of people are gonna change, and 80% are gonna go back to the bullshit or the buffoonery, or they're gonna go back to their old ways, and they're not gonna grow up. I was on Ben Baller's live the other day, and he was talking to Tiger, and he was like telling Tiger, yo, I was just talking to DJ Mustard. I love Mustard. Mustard was like, yo, I can't wait for this to be over and get a new chain and go out there and flex, let motherfuckers know who I am. That's the most stupidest shit. So hopefully, you know, if we can if 50% of people will learn from this, that should be good. You know what I mean?
Right. What was your first major investment when you got your first hip hop check?
Hovain in here. Shout out Hovain, legend.
Shout out.
You know, my first investment was, you know, I was buying real estate. You know, you know, that's why I'm sitting in a nice house right now. I was buying apartment buildings in Omaha, Nebraska, where Warren Buffett was from. No one was like gave a fuck about Omaha, Nebraska. I was buying eight apartment complexes for 15, 20 grand. So I was investing in real estate. You know, I won some, lost some, but you know, the best investment is mutual funds to me, and real estate, man. To be honest with you.
How did you get the insight on real estate to know to invest in that so early?
Man, like I said, I would read books. I'm self-taught. I'm self-made. I would just say, yo, why is this person wealthy? Not rich. He's wealthy. And if you really know who owns all these sports teams, these owners who are billionaires, they own real estate. You know, so you just live, learn, talk, read, Google, listen, ear hustle, and most billionaires in the world are real estate. So I'm not a billionaire, far from it, but I got into real estate. I used to be in the club and bar business. I've been into a lot of shit. I'm a hustler, man. From shoveling snows, raking leaves, delivering newspapers, bussing tables, owning the restaurant that I worked in, making it a bar, and had like Chris Mullin and Mark Jackson and Bill Wennington and Run DMC and Onyx come. And I got into a car accident. That's when I got the job at Sony. So I just work hard, man. Hard work really pays off, man. That's really it, brother.
The definition of the grind, man. The motherfucking guru, the motherfucking hustler.
Still grinding. I'll be 55. I'll be 55, man, this year, and I'm still grinding. And rest in peace, Fred the Godson. Rest in peace to Rap, Eric B. and Rakims, man. There's a lot of people I've lost and I know who've passed away from this virus. My man Big West, Al Heyman's partner, he passed away from a heart attack during his sleep. But, appreciate people when they're alive, salute them when they're alive, love them when they're alive, your mother, your father, your children, because tomorrow's not promised. Give people their roses when they're alive. Don't wait for the last minute. I don't want people posting me when I'm dead. I want them to tell me they love and respect me when I'm alive. So, tomorrow's not promised, man. And I'm scared of death, man. I fear death. Every night I go to sleep, I fucking pray, man, because I'm getting older. And, I'm enjoying life right now. And I'm spending things that I wouldn't spend and doing things that I would never do. And I'm not going to cheat myself on life no more. I'm going to put myself first when I put everybody else first. And now I'm putting myself first, And I got my guy Ziggy right here. He's my little doggy. And I'm going to take him for a walk. And I'm just living life, bro. So, again, man, I appreciate you having me, my brother. I love you. You my man, day one.
I love you more.
Nip the great,
man. Man, thank you, bro. And, I always got to give you your roses anytime I speak to you. You helped me a lot during Along This Way. Just watching and being inspired and just knowing the journey that you took to get here and all the gems you always drop on me. Forever grateful for our friendship. I love you, brother. I had to give you your flowers, too. You know what I mean? Because I only want to talk to people that could give insight and really inspire people to get to where they want to get to. And you was top on my list. I was shocked when you was like, yeah, come on, let's do it. Man, I'm like, oh, shit, I got Steve talking shit. This is all I needed.
Nah, I'm appreciative, man, and I respect you. And shout out my guy, Fly Guy Buddy in here, my man Mario, the real hip-hop, the Dutch legendary rapper from Holland. You need to get with him. Brain Power.
Yeah, I'm
shout out Track Lib, June Summers. Everybody else was in here, man. So I appreciate you, man. I salute you. And God bless you, man. Thank you so much. Okay, my brother?
I see you in a few. After this shit is over, I'm pulling up on you.
Yo, for Nip, neighborhood.
Shout out to the legend Steve Lobel, man. It don't get no better than that. Shit, before I take off, because I got Aaron Reed coming up next. I want to tell everybody, you know what I mean? Don't be a boss, be a leader. Bosses can get fired.